Hello and welcome to Decision Night in America 2008. I am Wolf Blitzer and this is CNN. Tonight, the presidential election we have all been waiting for. Between the current President of the United States, John Kerry, seeking re-election, and Nevada Senator John Ensign, head of the Republican Senatorial Committee. And we can see on the polls that Kerry has been leading by a slight lead in every single poll taken since September. And here is the consensus for the election in 2008. You can see that there are only 4 swing states, but several more are considered in play even though they are leaning in one way or another. And it's time for the 7 PM poll closings between John Ensign and John Kerry. Out of the state of Indiana, John Ensign will prevail, winning that state's 11 electoral votes. John Ensign will also win in Kentucky, taking that state's 8 electoral votes. And in the state of Georgia, John Ensign runs away with those 15 sweet electoral votes in the Peach State. Going to New England, and John Kerry will win the state of Vermont, easily taking those 3 electoral votes. And the states of South Carolina and Virginia are at the moment too early to call. And we are now projecting a few more states. We can project that John Ensign will win the state of North Carolina. John Ensign takes North Carolina. The financial crisis here, a bunch of electoral votes go to John Ensign. And in the state of Virginia, John Ensign takes that quite early. It has just been called, the polls closed there at 7, and now we can project that Virginia has gone for John Ensign. And here you have the electoral vote count as we stand right now, 62 for John Ensign, 3 for the President of the United States, John Kerry. And it's 8 PM on the East Coast and polls are now closed in a bunch of new states. Going to the state of Illinois, John Kerry will win that state's 21 electoral votes. He will also win in his home state of Massachusetts, as well as Rhode Island, Maryland, and the District of Columbia. In South Carolina, we can now project that John Ensign will prevail, taking all of those 9 electoral votes. John Ensign will also win in Mississippi, easily winning the state of Mississippi. Ensign will also win in the states of Alabama, Oklahoma, and Tennessee, all going for the Republican challenger. And here you have it now, the incumbent president has 53 electoral votes, John Ensign 103, that's a 50-vote lead. And at 8:30 in the East Coast we can now see the results from the state of Arkansas. And we can project that John Ensign has won the state of Arkansas, not by the biggest margin, but he does go in the Republican column. Meanwhile, we can also project that John Kerry has won the state of Michigan. This was not a state that was very much contested, it was expected to go this way. It has, however, been going to John Kerry a bit earlier than people would foresee, and John Kerry takes Michigan. He will also take the state of Connecticut on the East Coast. And Maine. He takes all of Maine's 4 electoral votes. John Kerry is the winner in Maine. And it's 9 PM on the East Coast and polls now closed in a bunch of new states, representing more than 100 electoral votes. And in the state of New York, John Kerry will easily carry that state's 31 whopping electoral votes. John Ensign, however, will win in the state of North Dakota with its 3 electoral votes. As North Dakota goes, so does South Dakota with its 3 electoral votes. John Ensign will also win the state of Texas with its whopping 35 electoral votes. And he also wins in Kansas with its 6 electoral votes, Nebraska with its 5 electoral votes, and Wyoming with its 3 electoral votes. However, John Kerry will win the eastern coast state of Delaware with its 3 electoral votes. And we can project now that John Ensign has won the state of Louisiana with its 9 electoral votes. He has also won the state of Missouri with its 10 electoral votes. And these states are still too close to call. Ohio, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and New Hampshire, as well as Wisconsin, Minnesota, Colorado, New Mexico, and Arizona at west. And it's 10 PM on the East Coast and polls are now closed in a dozen more states. Not a dozen really, but only 4. Utah has gone to the Republican nominee John Ensign by a big margin. He has also won the state of Montana, as well as the state of Nevada, his home state, that was narrow 4 years ago when George Bush narrowly carried it when he lost to John Kerry by losing Ohio. However, John Ensign has now won the state of Nevada by a very big margin. It's the home state factor that helps John Ensign in this area. And we can also project that the state of West Virginia now, after a while, it has gone to John Ensign. This is a state that has suffered under the economic hardships of the last 4 years, and it was no surprise that it has gone to the Republican again. However, the state of Minnesota. The state of Minnesota goes to John Kerry. He is the apparent winner in the state of Minnesota, taking all of those 10 electoral votes. So it is a computer glitch here that shows Minnesota with only 9. It is 10 there, and the Republican nominee John Ensign has 201 electoral votes to the Democrat John Kerry's 124. We can now also project the winner in the state of New Mexico. John Kerry will win New Mexico. It was a state he narrowly lost 4 years ago to George Bush, but this year he wins the state of New Mexico. Whoa, John Kerry has also won the state of Pennsylvania. Huge news for John Kerry. It appears that he has won it by even a bigger margin than he won it with 4 years ago. John Kerry carries the state of Pennsylvania. It's 21 electoral votes, and this is a huge blow to the Ensign campaign, even though John Kerry was said to be favored in that state. John Ensign, however, will win the state of Colorado, a state that also went to the Republican George Bush 4 years ago. He also wins the state of Arizona out west, a state where his talk about drought assistance has been a big bonus factor. And in the state of Iowa, we can project that John Kerry has won in the state where there are many farmers. John Kerry is union friendly. He has been a favorite of many of these unions, and he now carries the state of Iowa. And it's 11 PM on the East Coast, and we can now project results in a bunch of new states, mostly out west, most of which will go to John Kerry. We can now project that John Kerry has won the state of California. California goes for John Kerry. It's a huge win, the biggest batch in the country. He has also won the states of Washington, Oregon, and Hawaii, all going to the Democrat President John Kerry. And in the state of Idaho, we can project that John Ensign will easily carry that state with its 4 electoral votes. And now we have the results so far. It was a huge win for John Kerry out west, taking all of California's 55 electoral votes, as well as Oregon, Washington, and Hawaii. There are a few states outstanding. The Democrat is now in the lead. He has now overtaken John Ensign in the total electoral vote count, and he's leading in the presidential race. However, now we can project that John Ensign has won the swing state of New Hampshire. New Hampshire goes back to the Republican column. It's a flip. It's a flip from 2004. John Ensign wins the state of New Hampshire. We can also project that John Kerry will win the state of Wisconsin. It's a hold. It also went to him narrowly 4 years ago. John Kerry takes Wisconsin. And in New Jersey, we can project that every vote has been counted in New Jersey and the results are in, and John Kerry will narrowly win the state of New Jersey. It is even more narrow than it was 4 years ago. It was one of the big swing states in this election. However, it will go to the Democrat John Kerry, the President of the United States, once again. And the only states that are remaining that are too close to call are Ohio, Alaska, and Florida. Alaska, of course, is expected to go to John Ensign, but it is Ohio and Florida that will decide this night, and if the President of the United States, John Kerry, wins one of them, he has won re-election, and John Ensign needs both. And here you see why. John Kerry now has 260 electoral votes, John Ensign only 228. It is not looking very good right now for the Republicans. He is slightly behind, and it is very narrow in the 2 remaining states that are going to decide this election. And in the state of Florida, we can now project that John Ensign has managed to win the state of Florida. He has won by 0.3% in the Sunshine State of Florida. It's a massive, important win for John Ensign. It was a state that President Bush carried by a big margin back 4 years ago. John Ensign does not take the same margins, but he does win the state of Florida. And in the state of Ohio, John Ensign will win the state of Ohio. He takes all of those 21 electoral votes. They go to his gallon. John Ensign is now on track. He has won the most important state he needs to win, the state of Ohio. And of course he wins Alaska with its 3 electoral votes, and that means that John Ensign has been elected President of the United States. He unseats the incumbent President, Democrat John Kerry. And the map is almost completely the same as it was in 2000. Of course the electoral vote count has changed, and John Ensign wins with 278 to 260. He unseats an incumbent president during what many people see as a financial crisis. It is a big demand. People are asking for more conservative Supreme Court picks and a more conservative direction for the country as a whole. They were disappointed with the response to the Hurricane Katrina in New Orleans back in 2005. It has been some difficult years to rule for John Kerry, and now we can see that he has lost, and John Ensign will be the next president of the United States. And here you have the demographics behind this Ensign victory. He wins the white vote, but not by the biggest margin ever. He does well enough among Hispanics and Asians to carry those groups, and in total he narrowly wins the popular vote, but he gets less than 50% of the vote. This was CNN election 2008, and of course we are not very happy about the results here at CNN, so now me and John King and Anderson Cooper are going to go home and cry. See you, have a good night, and stay safe.